And Pavel has joined the party. Yes, good. We love you, Pavel. So we might lose power, as we know that can sometimes happen. And if that happens, if we lose power, Billy will make an announcement for the live stream so people know that we're disappearing from sight, but we can stay and do whatever we feel like. Well, within reason. No, we can do whatever. I want to start. Are you ready to start? Yes. Yes? Okay. I'll take a drink of refreshing liquid to replace some of that I'm producing from my body. Okay. I want to give you the reference for the most accessible commentary on Kuntu Sampo, the most accessible one I've ever read. And by these same lamas, there is an earlier one which is sublime, luminous, practically shines the light off the shelf, but the shelf was back in the 1990s, and I don't think it even exists anymore. Nobody I know has been able to find it. So I still have my copy from 1996, and at some point, I know it's not quite right to do this, but at some point, I think I might have to find out from them whether we can make copies from this. I don't think, because it's self-published and so on, they might be willing, but probably not, because I wouldn't want to. Anyway, this is called Discovering Infinite Freedom, the Prayer of Kuntu Sampo. Discovering Infinite Freedom, the Prayer of Kuntu Sampo. And as we know, you can just put in partial titles now and you'll get the whole thing. But I want to give you the authors. Palden, P-A-L-D-E-N, Sherab, S-H-E-R-A-B, Rinpoche. And Tsewang, T-S-E-W-A-N-G, Donyal, D-O-N-G-Y-A-L, Rinpoche. Palden Sherab died some years ago. Khenpo Tsewang is still alive and teaching. They are Nyingma teachers. And Palden Sherab was greatly venerated for his amazing wisdom. When you read what he writes, you'll say, oh, this isn't just about wisdom. This is about real acuity of understanding the human condition and the human mind, and speaking to it as if he were freshly minted on Western soil. So he obviously has good translators, but the mind of this teacher was really just remarkable, like a breath of fresh air or a flow of fresh water. These were my first lamas. And it's published by, anyway, you'll find it. It's online. It's on Amazon. It's very fresh, very complete, very thorough, and deeply inspiring. It places the practice in our hands. So they're doing a commentary on the substance of it, but also they're giving the ritual practice. So there's instruction in how to perform the ritual practice too, which is very brief and very clear. So I wanted to share that with you. And then I also wanted to share with you an experience that Molly had. Wasn't expecting that I was going to say that or call on her. But she had a very interesting experience of, remember earlier today I said something probably not very profound and wise, and we might not even be wise to rely on it, but about the uncertainty around this question of what's sentient and what's not, and how we as human beings could presume to know what the consciousness is of other species, since we can barely agree on whether mind is coming out of the brain or whether the brain is coming out of mind. You know what I mean? It's like we are not really qualified quite to judge the nature of the consciousness of the manatee, for example, much less the mosquito. So, so I think I said at one point, mind is mind. I'm sure I said that at more than one point. But when we look at invoking discriminating wisdom to understand something about our relationship to all sentient beings, which includes species that we don't even know exist yet, How can we think that we know what the nature of their consciousness is, but we can know without any doubt whatsoever what the essence, what their essence is. It's the same as ours, true nature. And with that information, I don't know about you, but I'm good to go. I don't have a problem not knowing the rest. But then there is this question of matter and the relationship of mind and matter, which we haven't touched on. But Molly has touched on it. And so she, at my kind invitation, which she had no idea she was going to receive, is delighted to accept the opportunity to speak to this topic. Feel free to use the mic and turn towards the audience, which is now hanging on your every word.
Okay. Oh, turn this.
Yeah.
Will this, do you hear this? I have to turn this.
She's exercising mind over matter at this very moment.
Just to be sure, we're talking about the faucet.
Doors and things that open and close unexpectedly. Why, was there a whole other dimension of your experience you hadn't mentioned?
Yes, but we don't have time for that now. Sorry. And I apologize to the two of you who've heard this story already.
Can you all hear her?
Can you hear me? Is this working? Okay.
I'm not able to hear you, but I know what it is she's talking about, so you keep focused.
Really can. So,
yeah.
So I'm staying in the guest house where there are 2 rooms, and in between the 2 rooms there's a living area. There's a door into that shared space, and my room has a door out to the outside. And I had been using that door to come in and out because I was trying to share air as little as possible. And then at one point, I couldn't open the door. It was, and I thought I had broken it. That I couldn't turn the lock in the knob any direction I tried. So that was yesterday. This morning, before coming fully into myself, I go to wash my face, and I can't turn the hot water off. And I'm horrified because it's a drought, and I'm watching this water go down the drain and thinking, I broke the door, and now I broke the faucet, and how am I going to tell these people I've done all this, and they'll never let me come back? My mind was spinning. And I literally did the exercise of, because thank goodness it was, fresh in my mind. Okay, come into yourself. And after a moment, when the panic had eased, I turned the faucet the other direction, or the same direction. I'm not even sure, because who knows what was going on with that faucet. But I turned the water off, and I was relieved. And then immediately I thought, I bet I can open that door too. And sure enough, the door opened.
And she presented this information to me by saying about our practice, and said, and then spoke to the kind of subtle gravitational effect of bringing mind within mind, and made the connection in the moment that she was in this activity of frantic panic. So I thought it was very instructive. I laughed out loud when I heard it, but I also wanted you to hear it. I think it's very instructive. Thank you very much.
And I hope to remember it in the bardo when I have that opportunity, in the bardo after death.
As in, maybe I can open this door? This one.
This one.
This one here. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Would you like to practice some more? Is that where you feel to go? Yeah. Okay then. Let me say just a couple of words before. When we are sitting and gazing outerly and innerly at the same time, were you aware when I gave that instruction during the practice to be really aware of the gazing outerly and innerly simultaneously? Did you have an experience at that moment of connecting with that particular form of gazing? Was it familiar to you in some way? Yeah, you, Stephen. That's also triggered by what you said yesterday regarding the reflexiveness of this and how when it's touched in any way, it reverberates through the entire system. That also triggers. One of the things that I noticed when I was learning how to practice in this way with the eyes open, since many meditation training methods have the eyes closed, but quite early on I was given the suggestion to keep the eyes open. And I experienced quite a surprising mental association. I felt, when I practiced like that, I felt the way we might feel when we're sitting by a fire and watching the fire and the flames and the sparks all at the same time, and sitting by moving water like a river that's moving, not turbulently, but steadily moving, and enough to produce wavelets on the surface. So you're looking at water and the waves simultaneously. And we have an experience, I mean, I know this is true for many, not just me, in those kinds of situations, a kind of deep rest, a deep, deep rest, a relaxation and clarity that sort of suffuses mind and body, so that we get up from the stream side or we get up from the fire, and when we walk home, I mean, this is an experience I had living near a place where there was always a ceremonial fire, and I'd walk home in the early dawn after being by the fire all night, and I know my feet were on the ground, but I was hardly aware of traveling, covering some distance in my walking or anything but the clarity of the atmosphere within my mind and all around me. And what I realized was, when we're looking at the water and the waves at the same time, we are observing in a non-dual manner, because we're not distinguishing. We're seeing the whole, and we're seeing its display. We're seeing the waves that are the play of the water. We're seeing the flames that are the play of the fire. And that's the same thing that Milarepa is saying to Bardarbom when he says, the clouds are the sky's display. The thoughts are the mind's play. It's the same thing. And we have this experience in the natural world all the time. And then we step into the created, the structured world, and it's rare to have that experience, but when you have it, remember it, because it's your practice. And our practice isn't creating that way of seeing. That way of seeing is natural to the unconditioned mind. In fact, that is the unconditioned mind. The mind that is not structuring its experience, but is being with experience. Yes? So as we go to practice again, you'll understand better how the eyes being open is a part of our full presence. And you'll understand a bit more, and I understand a bit more even saying this to you today, how our embodiment, our being in physical bodies, is a very important part of our practicing in the Dharma. We wouldn't be able to practice if we didn't have them. Not in the ways we practice now, you know. And we wouldn't be in samsara without all our confusion and so on. We wouldn't be qualified to be here if we weren't ignorant, didn't have ignorance, you know. Wouldn't be qualified. It's our qualification for being here and learning on the path in this way. But that experience so subtle and so unremarkable of non-dual way of seeing is yours at any moment. Any moment. It can happen sitting here right now. It can happen when if it's happening when you're driving your car, you need to get a little alert about that, right? So, okay, that's nice. I'll pull over perhaps for a few minutes. But it is your natural way of seeing. And that's important for us to remember when we're practicing like this, to see the true nature, that we're looking to see what is natural. No contrivance here. We're not creating something. We're doing the opposite of creating something. We're just being with whatever arises, neither grasping, nor pushing away, nor making up any kind of narrative story about it. Yeah? So with that in mind, let's just sit. And anything that you've received in terms of instructions or guidelines, do that as it pleases you, and then create a space where you sit with that and see what that has shown you or what you've seen or experienced, and then maybe try another aspect. This is for you to try out everything that's been spoken to and everything that's been pointed out and suggested, and see how it is for you. See how it sits with you, how you sit with it and how it sits with you. Yeah? Okay. I'm not even going to use the gong. This is just a time for sitting. And at some point maybe I'll gong, but I don't have anything in mind. Does that sound okay? And if the electric power goes out, we'll just continue sitting in the other kind. Well, I'm thinking twice about the gong. It's kind of nice to get gonged in, isn't it? With Rinpoche's bell. from time to time, ask yourself in practice, what sees this? Do you remember the devotional practice with the picture of the Lama? And you look at the Lama with great devotion and love, and then you look instantly at your own mind, and then you look to see what sees both seeings. It's like that for our practice also. We can get a little tight when we are saying, okay, I'm really looking at my mind, I'm looking at the thoughts, the conditioned mind in motion, and then I'm looking to see the stream itself that the thoughts are arising in. And then what sees that? It is aligned with the instruction from Garchen Rinpoche. Never look at the problem. Look only at clear awareness. So then he makes it even more explicit. He says, always and only, see only clear awareness. Do you want to move around a little bit? Relax yourself. The session of practice after lunch is probably the hardest one in the whole day. Any questions or comments or observations? you know already that I have no voice for singing and I can't carry a tune, right? You already know that. So you're nodding, that's really nice. So I want to sing you another little ditty. This is an adaptation of Milarepa's teaching that I told you about earlier by a wonderful Kagyu practitioner who died a few years ago. He just made it into a song. And this is in the 100,000 Songs of Milarepa in you can look up I think it's maybe titled under Milarepa's Instructions to Bardarbom, Bardarbom. Suspiciously sounds like my name, but we won't take anything personally. He was tough on her, but very directly pointing her to where she needed to go with her mind. So we'll see. I might try out a note or two here to see if I can do this. I lubricated with a little piece of chocolate just now in case I was called upon to offer a performance. So let's see how I do. So the first voice, the first two lines are Bardarbom coming to talk with Milarepa about her practice because he had sent her to practice in a certain way. And so she went to practice and she comes back then with her questions. Or her positive report, then her questions. And then the second two lines are Milarepa's response. This is embarrassing, but I'll get over it because that's self-grasping. So we're just going to just plow right into this because I had the idea to do it. So I can contemplate the sky, but clouds make me uneasy. Milarepa, tell me how to meditate on clouds. If your mind's as easy as you say, clouds are just the sky's display. Let your mind stay within your mind. I can contemplate the sea, but waves make me uneasy. Milarepa, tell me how to meditate on waves. If the sea's as easy as you say, waves are just the sea's play. Let your mind stay within your mind. Does somebody want to check out the back porch or the front porch to see whether that's an inviting place for us to be?
Door's locked, so I'm going to do this.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Me and somebody else were a witness to Molly's deal. We tried that door too, and it did not work.
Thumbs up. Okay, let's go sit outside. You might want to bring your cushion. The good ones should probably not go out on the cement, but you can catch one from the back that isn't so fancy and elegant. And Molly, would you select my chair for me? Thank you. It'd be nice to step out. You want me to start over again? We're having a little technology challenge here, in that I'm not knowing how to do this. So we're going to sit out in the back porch, or on the front porch, looking out over the mountains. And partly it's for the experience of being able to practice outside, but partly it's also, we're in monsoon season in Arizona. It's very humid and heavy. And so it's, even with the lovely fans going, it's hot inside. So we're going to see if we can have some time out in nature before the storm comes in, because yesterday we tried it and a huge electric storm came very close upon us. So we're going earlier today. So we will come back. We'll be back in here. I don't know how long, but we'll come back into this room before we close for the session. Okay? Because we need to do a complete closing with the dedication. I wouldn't mind. Yes. Oh, thank you so much. If the sky's as easy as you say, clouds are just the sky's play. Let your mind stay within your mind. Is my mic on? Okay. Before we're all settled here, I just want to speak. I want to have a private conversation with our friends around the world. You're welcome to listen in. So, my dear friends, in the past sessions that we've been having together online in this way, it's been a little different. We've had Zoom sometimes, and other times simply teachings with my direct connection with you through the camera. So a number of different modes have been used, and I think we know that we've enjoyed very much the camera connection. It's very direct in some miraculous way that I can't define or identify. I feel a deep intimacy with you through this wonderful technology. And in fact, have good relationships, Dharma friendships of Sangha forming in this way. And I am so grateful to Billy, our technician, who is so masterful in creating these opportunities for us. And now he has to stretch another direction a little bit. This is the first time, as I mentioned at the outset, that I've taught people in person in the temple, that I've taught with people in the temple, really since the pandemic started in March of 2019 was the last time I think there were people here. Besides a few staff members sometimes come to sit. But this is a different situation that we've had this weekend. And I love it. I love it that there are people in the room who've come specially for this and who have sat together like authentic practitioners that you are, sitting together. And my attention has been not divided, but enlarged by having you here and having the camera also here. And I'm sorry for the little confusion about our taking a break, but looking outside here, I saw this magical landscape illuminated by sun and shadow of clouds, and not knowing when rains might come again, I thought it would be good for us to sit outside. So, but I didn't let Billy know in advance that that was going to happen. So he did a wonderful job of cleaning it up and bringing you outside with us. So I was very happy about that you were invited to really contemplate the beauty of these mountains and the skies at the same time that we were in that contemplation. So thank you to Billy, thanks to everyone for the ins and outs. So tell me how your practice was sitting outside. Thumbs up. Did you want to speak also? Then you'll have to get up and go to the... And I also must say a very heartfelt thank you for your kindness and consideration all during the weekend about your masks. You have been so kind and so considerate. And just knowing how wonderful it was to sit out there unmasked, seeing you all in that way, and then lo and behold, when I look at you again, there you are, you're all masked up, just as we're supposed to be. Thank you so much for that. So we'll hear about your practice.
Well, I love to sit out in nature, and I have to say, truthfully, I just sit. And I, maybe once in the whole time did I try to really look at who sees, I have to admit. But it's so peaceful. And it seems so human to just sit. Not a lot of thoughts either. Anyway, so I love it. I think the spaciousness allows thoughts to really dissipate. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then I've done this practice a long time in nature, so it was wonderful.
Well, I'm glad you're using the expression "just sit." For many years now, I've basically stopped using the word meditation because everybody has a different understanding of what that means, really, you know. And I, when I use it about my own practice, I feel as if I'm staking a false claim to something, that I might know that there's something called meditation and that I'm doing that. It's just, it doesn't work for me. So when I speak of my practice, I say just sitting. And that's sufficient for me, just sitting. And the just sitting includes awareness. I mean, that's what it includes. And when we just sit in that, in the great beauty there, and in the inner beauty that is, you know, this is the mirror for us, perhaps something that someone else might call meditation would naturally arise. And I think that's good enough.
I could, if you like. Rosemary offered to dance, and I've memorized 8 of the verses to song of the 37 practices. I could sing one verse. I could offer you one verse.
Yes. What is the song?
Lama Linda from Virginia put these to verse.
Put what to verse?
The 37 practices of the Bodhisattva.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I didn't follow that.
You.
So do you want to sing a couple verses for us?
Just one verse.
Okay. Do you have a favorite one?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I don't tame my inner enemy, the poison of aggression, anger, hate, then outer enemies simply multiply. No matter how to vanquish them, I fight. To tame my own mind with the army of the forces of compassion, kindness, love. This is the way a bodhisattva trains.
All right. Thank you. Would you make a recording of the whole thing? Okay. I would love to have that.
Okay.
What?
I want it too.
Yeah, I think that would be super. And then we could have it, you know, we could just have it on our computers and our phones. We could listen to it. That's lovely. Thank you so much. So, that's a hard act to follow. We've got the singing Sangha here. We've got one singer and then one croaker. So I'd like to hear anybody else's experience of sitting outside together in this way. I was very aware that we were sitting together. This was a Sangha sit. Yeah. Did you want to speak?
Just a couple of things that I've observed is one is when able to hold that just clear awareness and just sit with it, it feels more expansive than any other time. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if maybe just the perception of time is different when you're able to hold on to that. But I feel like that will be really valuable for practicing, not in meditation or sitting, but in everyday life. If you can hold on to that clear awareness, and it's almost like you have more time to consider what you want your inputs to be into any given situation, or even if maybe your inputs aren't necessary, if it's better to just observe.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I think that's really a valuable perception. That's my experience in the real world, as we say, the real world practice. But I think that the holding onto it might be a little tricky. It's more, we don't have to hold onto it. It doesn't come and go. We come and go.
True. I did get a little distracted by a jumping spider. They're my favorite, and he jumped on my toe, and so
the jumping spiders are marvelous.
I played with him for a bit, so that took my awareness out.
They're like circus performers, little clowns.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Other thoughts, experiences to share? This is an integrating process when we can communicate something of our experience in ways that really nourish the rest of us. It's really valuable, really valuable. And there's no obligation also. Paul? Come.
Can I sing a song?
Oh, please. That seems to be what's happening here today.
No.
Do we need an instrument? Or
No, I'll sing the same one.
Okay.
'Cause I just like it. It's one of my favorites.
Okay.
It's similar, same song that you were singing earlier.
The Milarepa?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Let's get here.
The song of Balderbum by Milarepa. I can contemplate the sky, but clouds make me uneasy. Milarepa, tell me how to meditate on clouds. If the sky's as easy as you say, clouds are just the sky's play. Let your mind stay within the sky. I can contemplate the sea, but waves make me uneasy. Milarepa, tell me how to meditate on waves. If the sea's as easy as you say, waves are just the sea's play. Let Let your mind stay in the sea. I can contemplate my mind, but thoughts make me uneasy. Milarepa, tell me how to meditate on thoughts. If your mind's as easy as you say, thoughts are just the mind's play. Let your mind stay within your mind.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I love that song.
I love it too. It's wonderful. Oh, listening, yes. Thank you. I will always be sitting at his feet. Claire. Hello, my darling. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. That was so lovely.
I knew you weren't gone forever. I knew.
Yeah, I didn't know.
It's okay. We're never apart.
I know. I'll be serving you tea in the next life.
Say that. Oh, yes. Well, who knows about what forms we'll be in the next life. But we'll remember each other. Not a problem.
Enlightenment is a team sport.
What did you say?
Enlightenment is a team sport.
Enlightenment is a what?
A team sport.
A team sport? It's really good. Yeah. And there's only one team. We're winning.
I was having a hard time knowing where are feeling the love inside the clear awareness, and
you were having a hard time.
I was looking for the love inside the clear awareness, and
you were looking for love inside the
clear awareness.
Inside the clear awareness.
And I'm really grateful for being able to have the aspiration for bodhicitta and feeling that rising up in my mind and feeling it lift my my thought stream into something more wholesome, and finding the finding a closer connection to truth in that space. So thank you for that.
I want to give you something that will help as a reminder, perhaps. And it was something that popped out of my mouth many years ago in Utah with my little Sangha that I had in Utah for some time. And somebody kindly wrote it down, because I don't always remember. I rarely remember what I say, actually. So if we look at the two wings of the bird that takes us to enlightenment. We're looking at method and wisdom. Method is love and compassion. Wisdom is the recognition of the empty nature of reality, meaning open and clear and vast, limitless. So that's, and pregnant with potential, yes? So here are the words, and perhaps they will be a little mnemonic for you. When the thick hide of appearances is pierced by the arrow of emptiness, what pours forth is the milk of love.
I like that. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. You might come and go from this place. You came, so you have to go. That's the way it works. But we will never be separate. We never have been. So the great love that can arise in this situation, which we're experiencing as we sit here together, it's who we are. We are not separate from that love, and when we meet again in such circumstances, there's no obstacle. As we might have obstacles in the outside world to expressing our love, to allowing ourselves to break open, to allow ourselves to experience and express our tenderness and our longing and our sense of closeness and oneness together. But remember to take this with you. The world needs what we are experiencing together. So it can be a touchstone for us. Maybe you pick up a little pebble to take with you. You're just something that you find on the path as you walk out. This fellowship, we could call it, this companionship on the path, this is meaning of Sangha, close companions on the path, who mirror for us our experience, our beauty, our goodness, our kindness, and support us as we work through the muck that sometimes hides our faces from ourselves, and helps us clear away the debris, that's underfoot. And when we talk about the three jewels of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, Sangha is, I think, the least understood of those three jewels, because we think in conventional ways about our apparently conventional relationships. But Sangha are not conventional relationships. We are companions on the path. But here's the thing that I want you to remember about Sangha. Every being is Sangha with us. We are all companions on the path. Some know it and some don't. Some don't know there's a path and aren't looking for it, but everyone's looking for truth in some way, because we're hearing that. We're feeling the resonance of truth sounding within us, so we're all looking, a potato chip, a movie, a bullfight, a political party. And so when we see, for example, people picking up belief systems that we think are, misguided or whatever, they're thinking the same thing about us, yes? And so what I've come to, because this is one of the ways in which our culture is riven right now, what I've come to is just giving thanks that my neighbor has a desire to be meaningfully a part of something much bigger than she or he is. Because that's the underlying motive there in some ways, It's not necessarily to destroy, It's to be a part of what is larger and spacious and can contain us and give our lives meaning. So celebrate that at the same time that you may not want to celebrate that particular form any more than they want to celebrate yours. But you know, we can make dear friendships across all the lines if we remember that we're all Sangha. We're all Sangha. We're all on the path somewhere or another. At one point when I was with my former teacher, I came one day very aware that I was in the process of falling. I was taking a fall on the spiritual path. And I said to her, I'm falling. And she said, have you hit bottom yet? The teacher can be very bracing. I said, no, and still, she said, okay, well then keep on falling. Let me know when you hit bottom. And then I went back sometime later. I said, I think I'm getting closer to the bottom. and I said, am I still on the path? Because I really wasn't sure, because it was a pretty serious fall. And she said, well, do you still aspire to enlightenment? And I said, yes. And she said, and have you attained enlightenment? And I said, no. At least I was honest, yes? And then she said, well, you're still on the path then. So there we are. We're still on the path together. So it's time for us to bring our retreat to a close. And we have closing prayers of various kinds that will give us nourishment for the journey ahead. So we need both prayer books, the yellow and the blue. And these prayer books, if you find the prayers meaningful and enjoyable for you, you can purchase these prayer books online through the bookstore. And Padma, who's the bookstore manager, is not well this weekend, so the store has probably not been open. Is that correct? It hasn't been open?
No, they opened it up at 1 o'clock.
Oh, they did?
Anya opened it up.
Okay, good. Good. So in the yellow book, turn to page 11. And acknowledge that our activities together and our presence together this weekend has generated a great deal of merit for us. Merit being love, I think it's quite recognizable to you. So, page 11, the first prayer is, by this merit may I attain omniscience. Having defeated the enemies, my wrongdoings, may I liberate all beings who are tossed in the ocean of samsara by the ways of birth, old age, sickness, and death. And the next one, whatever virtue sentient beings possess, whatever good they have done, will do, and are doing now, whatever goodness there may be, may it permeate all beings everywhere. And 13, glorious root guru, precious one who sits upon a lotus at my heart, hold me with kindness and grant me all accomplishments of enlightened body, speech, and mind. On page 14, I pray for the excellent health of the Guru. I pray that he lives a supremely long life. I pray that his activities spread far and wide. Grant blessings that I may not be separate from my Guru. May the Buddha's teachings, the only source of benefit and happiness, endure long. and may the victory banner of longevity for those upholding the teachings be steadfast. May the sound of the great Dharma drum liberate all sentient beings from suffering. Please remain and teach the Dharma for infinite millions of kalpas. By the might of this powerful merit, may the aspirations of the benefactors and their circles be accomplished within this very life. May their obstacles be pacified. May everything be auspicious, and may their wishes be fulfilled according to the Dharma. And we want to go to Billy. What's the peace, the World Peace Prayers, page 40? 38. Okay. Page 38 and 39. And this is one of the prayers that I was thinking of when I spoke to you about how prayers really from long time ago are addressing events as if they're happening today. This prayer will strike you in that way. And it's also a prophecy, as you will tell when you read it. Prayer for world peace and welfare. The three jewels and three roots, trustworthy source of refuge, and in particular the Lord of Snow, Avalokiteshvara, Jetsun Tara, and Guru Padmasambhava, I supplicate you, please follow your previous pledges. Bestow blessings that this aspiration prayer may be fulfilled most perfectly. Due to the degeneration of times, when thoughts and deeds of beings are perverted, and the inner and outer elements have lost their balance, humans and cattle are seized by epidemic disease previously unheard of. Intruding Rahus, Nagas, powerful demons and dark forces, blight, frost and hail, bad harvest, warfare, and so forth, erratic rainfall, heat, misery, and droughts in the world, destruction by the elements, such as earthquakes and the threat of fire, and in particular barbaric offenses causing harm to the teachings are rampant. May all types of harm and injury around the world be swiftly pacified and overcome. May precious and supreme bodhicitta spontaneously arise in the mind streams of all beings, human and non-human, and may they be free from destructive thoughts and deeds. May all be endowed with a loving mind for one another, and may well-being, glory, and prosperity prevail throughout the world. May the Buddha's teachings spread far and wide and ever last. By the truthful power of the three roots, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, by any root of virtue existing in samsara and nirvana, and by the power of our perfectly pure highest intention, may the fruition of our supplication and aspiration be attained. And back to the yellow book. Page 17. By the blessing of the Buddhas who attained the three kayas, by the blessing of the truth of the unchanging nature of reality, and by the blessing of the undivided Sangha community, may my prayers be fulfilled according to this dedication. By the virtues accumulated in the three times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the intrinsic root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious awakening. And this is the prayer for the preservation of the lineage within which we practice here today. Great Vajradhara, Tilopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Dharma Lord Gampopa, Pamodrupa, and Lord Drikungpa, may the auspiciousness of all the Kagyu-lamas prevail. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind root and lineage gurus, divine assembly of yidams, assemblies of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, heroes and heroines, yogini and her assembly of dakinis, all of you dwelling in the 10 directions, please heed me. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of attachment, hatred, ignorance, pride, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, respect, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. At the moment of death, may I not experience the suffering of being abruptly severed from this life. May I not suffer a terrible death. May I not die confused by wrong views. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind itself and in the crystal clarity of Dharmata. May I in any case gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo. And then I want us to take our copy of the Kuntu Zanpo, and we'll recite Kuntu Zanpo together. Do you have one there, Christina? Okay. We're using this. I think it's the same, or very much so. And recite with some vigor. Ho! Everything, appearance and existence, samsara and nirvana, has a single ground, yet two paths and two fruitions, and magically displays as awareness or unawareness. Through Kuntu Zangpo's prayer, may all beings become Buddhas, completely perfected in the abode of the Dharmadhatu. The ground of all is uncompounded, and the self-arising great expanse beyond expression has neither the name samsara nor nirvana. Realizing just this, you are a Buddha. Not realizing this, you are a being wandering in samsara. I pray that all you beings of the three realms may realize the true meaning of the inexpressible ground. I, Kuntu Zangpo, have realized the truth of this ground, free from cause and condition, which is just this self-arising awareness. It is unstained by outer expression and inner thought, affirmation or denial, and is not defiled by the darkness of unmindfulness. Thus, this self-manifesting display is free from defects. I, Kuntu Zangpo, abide as intrinsic awareness. Even though the three realms were to be destroyed, there is no fear. There is no attachment to the five desirable qualities of sense objects. In self-rising consciousness, free of thoughts, there is neither solid form nor the five poisons. In the unceasing clarity of awareness, singular in essence, there yet arises the display of the five wisdoms. From the ripening of these five wisdoms, the five original Buddha families emerge, and through the expanse of their wisdom, the 42 peaceful Buddhas appear. Through the arising power of the five wisdoms, the 60 wrathful Herukas manifest. Thus the ground awareness is never mistaken or wrong. I, Kuntu Zangpo, am the original Buddha of all, and through this prayer of mine, may all you beings who wander in the three realms of samsara realize this self-arising awareness, and may your great wisdom spontaneously increase. My emanations will continuously manifest in billions of unimaginable ways, appearing in forms to help you beings who can be trained. Through my compassionate prayer, may all of you beings who wander in the three realms of samsara escape from the 6 life forms. From the beginning, you beings are deluded because you do not recognize the awareness of the ground. Being thus unmindful of what occurs is delusion, the very state of unawareness and the cause of going astray. From this delusive state comes a sudden fainting away, and then a subtle consciousness of wavering fear. From that wavering there arises a separation of self and the perception of others as enemies. Gradually the tendency of separation strengthens, and from this the circle of samsara begins. Then the emotions of the 5 poisons develop. The actions of these emotions are endless. You beings lack awareness because you are unmindful, and this is the basis of your going astray. Through my prayer, may all you beings recognize your intrinsic awareness. Innate unawareness means unmindfulness and distraction. Imputing unawareness means dualistic thoughts towards self and others. Both kinds of unawareness are the basis for the delusion of all beings. Through Kuntu Zangpo's prayer, may all you beings wandering in samsara clear away the dark fog of mindfulness, clear away the clinging thoughts of duality. May you recognize your own intrinsic awareness. Dualistic thoughts create doubt. From subtle attachment to this dualistic turn of mind, dualistic tendencies become stronger and thicker. Food, wealth, clothes, home, and friends, the 5 objects of the senses and your beloved family, all these things cause torment by creating longing and desire. These are all worldly delusions. The activities of grasping and clinging are endless. When the fruition of attachment ripens, you are born as a hungry ghost, tormented by coveting and desiring, miserable, starving, and thirsty. Through Kuntu Zangpo's prayer, may all you desirous and lustful beings who have attachments neither reject longing desires nor accept attachment to desires. Let your consciousness relax in its own natural state. Then your awareness will be able to hold its own. May you achieve the wisdom of perfect discernment. When external objects appear, the subtle consciousness of fear will arise. From this fear, the habit of anger becomes stronger and stronger. Finally, hostility comes, causing violence and murder. When the fruition of this anger ripens, you will suffer in hell by boiling and burning. Through Kuntu Zangpo's prayer, you beings of the 6 realms, when strong anger arises for you, neither reject nor accept it. Instead, relax in the natural state and achieve the wisdom of clarity. When your mind becomes full of pride, there will arise thoughts of competition and humiliation. As this pride becomes stronger and stronger, you will experience the suffering of quarrels and abuse. When the fruition of this karma ripens, you will be born in the God realms and experience the suffering of change and falling to lower rebirths. Through Kuntu Zangpo's prayer, may you beings who develop pride let your consciousness relax in the natural state. Then your awareness will be able to hold its own. May you achieve the wisdom of equanimity. By increasing the habit of duality, by praising yourself and denigrating others, your competitive mind will lead you to jealousy and fighting, and you will be born in the jealous God realm, where there is much killing and injury. From the result of that killing, you will fall into the hell realm. Through Kuntu Zangpo's prayer, when jealousy and competitive thoughts arise, do not grasp them as enemies. Just relax in ease. Then consciousness can hold its own natural state. May you achieve the wisdom of unobstructed action. By being distracted, careless, and unmindful, you beings will become dull, foggy, and forgetful. By being unconscious and lazy, you will increase your ignorance, and the fruition of this ignorance will be to wander helplessly in the animal realm. Through Kuntu Zangpo's prayer, may you beings who have fallen into the dark pit of ignorance shine the light of mindfulness and thereby achieve wisdom free from thought. All you beings of the 3 realms are actually identical to Buddha, the ground of all, but your misunderstanding of the ground causes you to go astray, so you act without aim. The 6 karmic actions are a delusion, like a dream. I am the primordial Buddha, here to train the 6 kinds of beings through all my manifestations. Through Kuntu Zangpo's prayer, may all you beings without exception attain enlightenment in the state of Dharma Dhatu. Aho! Hereafter, whenever a very powerful yogin, with his or her awareness radiant and free from delusion, recites this very powerful prayer, then all who hear it will achieve enlightenment within 3 lifetimes. During a solar or lunar eclipse, during an earthquake or when the earth rumbles, at the solstices or the new year, you should visualize Kuntu Zangpo And if you pray loudly so all can hear, then beings of the three realms will be gradually liberated from suffering through the prayer of the yogin and will finally achieve enlightenment. That was the reading transmission for this practice. You are now authorized to practice, and the instructions for when and how are in the last two verses, and this book that I recommended to you gives an amplified and very clear guidance for how to do the ritual practice. Okay? So now we move to the long life prayers for our gurus and the holy ones who teach us lifetime to lifetime. Long life prayers, His Holiness Tenzin Gyatso, the 14th Dalai Lama. For this realm, encircled by snow-covered mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. Tenzin Gyatso, Lord Chenrezig, may you remain steadfast until the end of samsara. His Holiness Drikung Kyabgun, Chetsang Rinpoche, he's the head of our lineage. Embodiment of the three jewels, great being who upholds and increases the teachings of the Shakya lion, supreme are your activities of guiding others with your perfect deeds. May you, the precious Guru who accomplishes everything spontaneously, live long. And the other head of the lineage, his brother, His Holiness Drikung Kyabgun Chungsang Rinpoche, holder of the teachings of Lord Drikungpa, great Lord of the Three Jewels, through the power of your peerless compassion and the holy Dharma's peace and light, you bring relief to beings. May your life be long. His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche, the one known in the noble land as Aryadeva, emanated into the Gar clan of eastern Tibet as Chudingpa, the heart son of Jigten Gompo. May the life of glorious Garchen remain steadfast for 100 eons. And then, very beautiful, the long life prayer for His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche that His Holiness the Dalai Lama himself composed. Crown of the Shakyas, kind friend to strangers, the 17 great Panditas, Tilopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Gampopa, Jigten Songgon, and their lineage heirs, please bestow good fortune and auspiciousness. Protector Amitayus, transcendent Lord who grants supreme life everlasting, stable and unchanging, and who diverts from untimely death anyone who merely hears your name or thinks of you, please bestow good fortune and auspiciousness. Living austerely in the higher training of discipline, full of compassion that is the glory of those to be tamed, devoid of all grasping, never parting from Mahamudra's natural state, Nidun Tenpe Nyima, son of the teachings, may your life remain firm. May the teachings of the great Trikungpa Ratna Shri, Master of Interdependence, omniscient Lord of Dharma who has seen all knowable things, be upheld until the end of cyclic existence through study, practice, hearing, contemplation, and meditation. And then homage to Chenrezig, the Buddha, the Bodhisattva, and Bodhisattva of compassion. Your 1,000 arms are the 1,000 wheel-turning kings. Your 1,000 eyes are the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate eon. Your love is boundless like space. I supplicate to the Bodhisattva, Chenrezig, Om Mani Padme Hum Kri. And for those who have expressed or experienced some doubt about your capacity to generate and realize infinite compassion and love, this prayer that we just read. And the chant, Om Mani Padme Hum Kri. By this virtue, may I swiftly accomplish Lord Chenrezig, and may I bring all beings without exception to that state. And this is also for those especially who are longing to generate and realize bodhicitta, and who also for those who have generated bodhicitta and are longing for it to increase, and for those who have fully generated bodhicitta, may it never decline. So this prayer is very powerful. May bodhicitta, the precious and supreme mind, arise in whom it has not yet arisen. Where it has arisen, may it not decline, but ever increase, higher and higher. And then a prayer that's precious to really everyone in the Tibetan lineages, I think, and Rinpoche has kindly made available for us to see this mandala that is his own personal vision that arose for him of Buddha Amitabha, with infinite forms of Buddha Amitabha emanating from the central figure. This is his personal vision. So we will chant this in English on page 32. Emaho. In the center is the wondrous Buddha of boundless light. To his right is Chenrezig, the Lord of great compassion, and to his left is Vajrapani, the Bodhisattva of great might. They are surrounded by an inconceivable assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Immeasurable peace and happiness is the pure land of great bliss. When I and all beings pass from this life, may we be born in that land, unhindered by another samsaric birth, and may we then behold the face of Amitabha, boundless light. May all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions bless this aspiration, that it may be accomplished without hindrance. Tejata pansadriya wa Buddha nasoha. And so we've completed our dedication prayers, and with that, retreat complete. And it was a wonderful retreat. I am so grateful, so thankful, and so filled with joy and love. And I want to introduce to you, for those of you who haven't yet met her, Christina Lundberg. Would you stand up, Christina? No? No, Sandy? Oh, want to use microphone. She just gets not to stand up. But please turn around so everybody can see you. She's our director of the Goshen Institute for quite some years now, and all of this beautiful new construction, new to us, completely new to you, so who haven't been here before, is arising under her careful stewardship and wise guidance and direction, and also Rinpoche's command that all the buildings be painted white, which has really done something extraordinary to make this vitality just flashing like light on this ridge. Wonderful. So, thank you for coming in.
Well, I just want to say on behalf of everyone who was able to attend the in-person retreat and then all of the online attendees, from our hearts, we are so grateful for you and all that you bring and share and guide and inspire us with your wisdom and your limitless love. It's palpable. So we're so fortunate to be able to receive all of that from you, and we thank you from our heart, and we supplicate you that we can receive your teachings in the future again and again, and that you will return. So
thank you.
This offering is on behalf of the Sangha, and of course if anyone wants to make you personal offerings, please do that. We want to support you in every way we can.
I wasn't able to understand that.
I
last
said
part.
if anybody wants to make their own personal offerings to you, to please do that, because we want to support you in all ways.
Oh, how kind. Thank you. Thank you so much. Christina, I'm just so grateful to you, too, as you well know. Try not to trip, dear. It's long. This is a loving friendship of a long time, Christina and I. Deep friendship in the Dharma. We're so fortunate to meet again and again. Our paths have crossed without our having met in many places throughout our lifetimes. She's very young compared to me, but as we've gotten to know each other over the years, we keep finding, oh, I was there then too. but we didn't meet. So finally we met in the Dharma rather than at the University of Vermont, for example. But it's like this. It's like there's been a weaving of our lives together in this lifetime, like a braid. And it's culminated in this association that is devoted to the benefit of all. So we didn't do it badly, did we? Thank you. So, thank you. And I think most of you are leaving and going to your own places. And I wish you a good journey. And it began somewhere else and then came here. And I want it now to begin here and go someplace else and then bring you back. I would like to meet with you here again. And in the meantime, here's where we meet. Heart, body, speech, and mind. Right? Never apart. I'm so grateful for your presence. I'm so grateful for your practice. I rejoice in you. I rejoice in you. Each one and all. Okay then. That's it. Thank you, Rinpoche. Oh. Thank you, dear. That's from Claire. From Claire? Thank you, Claire.